Doug Johnson with DragRace Texas Magazine here with Erica Enders, two-time world champion. Did you ever think we'd be saying that 7-8 years ago when we were doing interviews together?
I had hoped it would happen eventually, but it's crazy and pretty surreal that it has. Thanks, Lim. It's been an honor to work with these guys. I think that's our key to success, is our entire team of people.
Well, you've said that many times over, obviously, in your interviews and stuff, and I noticed you have your big ring on. Honestly, you came out here to North Star Dragway in Denton, Texas to do some testing, and first full pass in the 8th was a 420. How amazing is your crew to do that?
Awesome. I talk about them all the time, and I beat that into the ground, but it's genuinely how I feel. I'm so blessed to have such a great group of men, and they strive for perfection, and that's what makes it so awesome, is that we all share the same goal, the same passion. But to come here with a brand new race car, that chassis is brand new, everything's new about it. That was our first run on it, and then not to mention all the fuel injection stuff, the new rev limiter, the shorter wheelie bar. All of these changes that have been implemented, and we come here, I'm able to do a burnout, back up, stage the car, and go 420 at 170 is just it goes to show that their hard work over this off season has paid off. So it's nuts, because the other groups that have gone down to Bradenton, took them 4 or 5 days to get to what we accomplished today. So I'm so proud of my guys. And that's not like I'm not being cocky. It's just so awesome that that happened, because it's nerve-wracking to come with a brand new race car, never even driven fuel injection in a pro stock car. It's nuts, the amount of changes that happened, and we were able to go down the racetrack.
Okay, so let's get to this real quick. You don't rev the cars high. You got a new throttle pedal feel. Yeah. What was the biggest difference for you?
Well, I guess the feeling of the throttle pedal itself. It's so much longer travel from closed to wide open, and it's a little bit more finicky. I use the term when I drove carburetor cars, like it's a zippy pedal. Like it's quick to accelerate RPM wise, and that is true to this car where it's zippy, but there's such a longer distance to travel. So my normal whack of the throttle that was $6,000 in a carburetor car, it's not the case in this fuel injection car. So I've got to learn everything all over as far as that's concerned, but the sound of it is completely different. You can throw I never used a tack ever. I just drove with my ears in the seat of my pants, and I've got to relearn that with the new tone of pitch of this motor, and then add that throttle pedal stuff to the equation. It's just different. Change is challenging, but I feel like we're good at what we do, and we're going to be okay.
That's amazing. There was a neat interview or article that was written about you for ESPN, I did believe it, and they talked about your crew chief had mentioned that you're hitting your shifts within 15 plus or minus RPM. 15 RPM, not 1500, 15. And what RPM was that at before?
Just over 11,000.
So now you're required to have a 10,500 rev limiter, which is much different. Is that seat of the pants feel different to you?
It is different. The shift pattern is going to be different. Obviously, we've turned it down quite a few hundred RPM. So the pattern's all off, and you just have to rely on what you're feeling, learn what you're hearing, because that's all new. It sounds so completely different, but and then of course your shift light as well. That's a big part of the equation, but it's going to be fine. I'm really confident about it. I'm really optimistic. EFI University, Ben Strader, is a big part of this new deal with us, and Jake Kirsten, one of our elite performance engine builders, is an EFI guy. He has a turbo car, and they're so brilliant. I was in there watching them fine tune our fuel mapping, and it's incredible what these guys know, what they've studied and worked on this entire off season. They implemented today in one run and go A to B like we did. And we've got a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, but that certainly makes us feel good leaving here to go to Phoenix to test before Pomona.
That's amazing. It's gotta be a little exciting too, seeing all this technology at work now, and you go in and you give them back your feedback, and then you can see more on the screen now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, and you know, being able to tune the car with a computer now, you can fine tune it at any point in the run, and so it's been awesome for me because I might not know exactly how to do it, but I can tell him what I'm feeling and what's happening in the car, and then I tell Ben and Jake that, and immediately they go in and change this, that, and the other in the fuel map, and it's fixed. It's nuts. Like, I can just come back and say, hey, I didn't like the throttle at this point, you know, trying to stage the car, and you're working with different timing and the motor, and they nail it, and it's awesome. So I'm very, very lucky to have those two, and of course Rick and Ricky Jones. I mean, the key here is communication, and we're good at that. So.
How badass is this new car, though?
Oh, it's
in
sick.
A Dodge,
oh
a
my
Mopar.
God. I drove a Mopar back in 06 and 07, so it's cool to be back with these guys. But Rick and Ricky Jones with RJ Race Cars, they built mine and Jeg's brand new Dodge Darts, and they said, and all the guys at their shop said, the two best pieces that have ever come out of their race shop. So that's awesome. And then we take delivery last week, and I was at the shop when the car got there. I immediately climbed in, and it is so awesome. I don't know if you can say badass on this video.
Oh yeah, we can say anything we want.
But it is badass, man. I mean, it's incredible if you get a chance to really look at it. The attention to detail, and I mean, hell, I even got a dome light in the thing. So.
I saw that. It was getting dark right before your last hit.
Yeah.
And you just made like a 300-foot hit the last pass, right? But it was neat to have a
yeah, normally like Robert, who's on the driver's door, he's holding a flashlight in his teeth while he's helping me get buckled in. So I just flipped the dome light on, and the whole thing's lit up like Christmas, and I get to buckle in and get everything ready in the car. And but no, that's just I was just being funny there. But they've done an incredible job. They take a lot of pride in building really great, safe race cars, and man, that Dodge Dart is awesome.
It is cool.
And it's pretty.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
It is pretty, and it's got a bunch of neat color schemes now, different than last year with the black and the red and then the yellow stickers.
Yep.
Line. You know, you and Jeg are going to be running Dodges together.
Yep.
How cool is that to be?
It's awesome. I mean, I've been friends with Jake for a long time, and he's a stand-up guy. Obviously, a great businessman, but probably one of the best racers pro stock has ever seen. So I'm honored to race alongside of him. I've got my other two teammates, Drew and Vincent, who are going to run the Chevy side of the program. So I think our driver roster is pretty stout, and it's going to be cool to have, you know, Jeg to bounce info off of. I had the chance to do that last year. Jeg ran with us for 3 races, and having him there and knowing what he's accomplished and what he's obviously capable of in the cockpit, you know, we were able to talk about. I really worked last year on, you know, my clutch pedal and linkage. That's kind of my non-electronic delay box as far as leaving the starting line goes, and you know, bouncing it off of him. We were within 0.02 of each other of what we thought. So I mean, that's pretty incredible.
And you brought your average reaction time from the 030s to the 023 range last year. That's amazing.
Thanks. I worked really hard at that for a long time, and a big, you know, yeah, I have to let the clutch pedal out, but a big part of that is feeling comfortable in the car, and, you know, me being able to design a clutch pedal with Rick and Ricky Jones, and the linkage that works accordingly, obviously is crucial for that as well. So just being comfortable, and then my peace of mind, being happy in a great positive working environment. It's such a unique atmosphere to work in, because I didn't always have that, you know that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different here, and I've never been so happy. I've never had so much fun, and it's proven on track, but it's also just, I mean, even if we sucked, you know, it's still fun.
It's still fun,
yeah.
Well, you know, it's a lot of being aligned with having 4 cars, Mopar coming in and making a big, you know, for a long time, Alan Johnson was the only one sponsored by Mopar and drag racing at all, right?
Yep.
Now he did so well, won 2 championships. They want to align themselves with you. Now you have 4 cars to get data from when you're with all these new changes. I mean, that's huge.
It is huge. I mean, yeah, we have different bodies, but they're all Rick Jones chassis. We run them very similar, and it's definitely going to be helpful. You know, in 2014, we were just a one-car team out there fighting for our life, and
Not even know if you're going to make it to all the races.
Exactly, and didn't miss 2 of them, and still able to accomplish what we did. And I drove well in 2014, but nowhere near as good as we did in 2015. So watching some of that coverage is painful, knowing what we did this past year. Who drags a 50, 40 up to the starting line? I'm like hard on myself about that, but these guys are amazing. It's just so fun.
Well, you can tell that you're happy, you're having a good time. Talk a little bit about coming to North Star Dragway in Denton, Texas to do your testing as opposed to going to Bradenton like everybody else. Why did y'all come here?
Because our shop is in Wynnewood, Oklahoma, which is just about 90 miles north of here on 35. So I've passed this place a million times but never had the opportunity to run on it. And I'll tell you, we got here and Rick and Ricky and I we walked the track and checked it out before we made any passes, and then going down and then keeping up with the spray, the VHT, and it's just awesome facility. I mean, we'll definitely be back here, that's for sure. It was my first time, and I loved it. So, and being a Texas girl, I mean, we crossed that Oklahoma-Texas border, and Oklahoma's as close as you can get to Texas. The people are the same, the mentality's the same. So it's cool. But crossing the Texas border, rolling in here, I took a picture of the Welcome to Texas sign. I wear the necklace on my neck. I'm proud to be a Texan. But it was definitely cool to test here in Denton.
And for those that don't know, you reside in New Orleans because you got married to Richie Stevens.
I did.
They have a family business in New Orleans, and there's no place to get your nails and hair done there.
I love that you put that in. Yeah, I mean, I moved to New Orleans, I think 6 or 7 years ago, and Richie's businesses are there. So with a cell phone and being close to an airport, I can live pretty much anywhere. So that's where I live now. Don't love it. Love Richie. But, I miss Texas a lot, but it's...
So plans to get a second home in, say, Austin or something?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm in. I don't know if he'll ever come visit me, but no, I'm just kidding. No, New Orleans is great. It's a fun place. It's like a smaller, dirtier Las Vegas, but we have a good time there.
That's cool.
And like I love Texas. I'm passionate about Texas. He's the same way about there, so.
And then he's there for a minute and his accent comes back out.
I know! It's back full-blown Cajun.
Well, his dad's got the better accent,
Oh,
though.
gosh, yeah. Yeah, he has some interesting words.
I know, right? Good people. Well, we appreciate you so much letting us come in and sit in this beautiful hauler. And
Well, it's kind of closed up a little bit now, but normally it's
I know, but it's cozy.
wide open. It is. I like that.
But, it was great to have you. And the magazine is done by racers for racers. And it's also Texas-based. So anytime you're in Texas, we will definitely be here. We'll do interviews.
Cool.
We're flipping the car around, having to put the front end out where those fans can see it. The changes to fuel injection, the changes with the no front hood scoop. What is your thought? What was your initial thoughts when you heard about all the changes?
I think as collectively as a class, our main concern was the RPM limiter. I mean, fuel injection has been discussed since I've been a part of Pro Stock, which is just 12 short years, and it's I think it's certainly a step in the right direction. I'm not just saying that. I mean, we need fresh blood out here. All these kids that are going to these high performance schools, nobody knows what a carburetor is. You don't tune a race car with a screwdriver anymore. It's all done with a computer. So I think NHRA as a whole is really wanting to get the younger generation out here, and then of course the guys. We used to rev our cars over 11,000. The KB guys were a little bit above us. So I think that the cars that were part-time cars that, just came to a certain number of races that ran lower RPMs are going to get back involved, once they make the switch over to the fuel injection stuff, because they can run their race cars at a lower RPM and be more competitive. So I think it's collectively it's going to be good. But change is always challenging, and keep saying that. I'm not a huge advocate for change, but if you're not changing, you're not moving forward, and I know that too. So we've got to move in the right direction. Pro Stock needs it. NHRA needs it as a whole. This new TV with Fox, hopefully that's going to be a good deal, and people are going to get to see us on a more personal side. They're going to do a lot more involvement with the teams and the drivers, which will be cool. So I think we're moving forward.
Very cool. That's awesome, and it will. I think the cars looking more like real street
Yeah.
cars is a big deal too.
Yeah, and that's a benefit for our manufacturers as well, because they always say race on Sunday, sell on Monday. So you can't relate a funny car to a street car, really. I mean, the only thing that's similar is the headlights and the taillights. But these pro stock cars with the doors, and they're looking more like your production car. So that's a benefit for our manufacturers, and hopefully we can sell more cars for Dodge. So that's always the goal. Keep them on board, keep the money coming, keep racing.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And being on Fox is going to be exciting too, because if you get more coverage, better coverage, whatnot, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And not getting bumped for softball games and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I always said underwater basket weaving. My TiVo would catch that instead of drag racing. But, all joking aside, after being on ESPN for over a decade, I mean, those guys become like family to you. So that was a hard change as well, because we lost a lot of really great people. But we're getting a new great group of people with Fox. So we're just hopeful that this TV package is going to carry us a little bit more than we've had in the past. And that's not knocking ESPN. We're just moving forward.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.